Welcome to the Totally Awesome Fishing Show.
We've had a lot of questions lately regarding feeders and the different types of feeders and what feeders to use when. There's a significant range of feeders out there, so we get loads of questions. So we finally thought to ourselves, let's do a video, tell you what sort of feeders there are and how to use them. Now when you're on a still water or a lake, you use either an open-ended feeder like this, if you can see that on the screen there, or a caged feeder like that. They're very open, there's no flow in the lake obviously, so there's not enough water to push bait out and just lose it really quickly. As you cast out, this sinks down and your ground bait slowly falls out along with your maggots and things like that.
And yet actually the maggots will help you push that ground bait out. If you make a mix of maggots and ground bait, don't make it stodgy, just want it really sort of fluffy really to go in there, enough to cast out, and the wriggling of the maggots will push those out. Now if you want to go to a river, these will work, but the current will obviously wash all that ground bait out. Then you need something like what we call, I call them all, I call anything with an end on it like this a cap, either a capped or a block end feeder. Now this is only a small one, but I use it on the river because it bumps around on slow rivers. You open the cap, you fill it up with maggots, you put the cap back on, your line comes down from the main line, through the little swivel at the top here, then you have a stop knot or another swivel and a hook length here of whatever breaking strain you want. It could be 2 pounds if you're going roach fishing. Don't use 2 pounds if you're going barbel fishing, guys. It's a one-way ticket to disaster. Use, I would say, about a 6 pound hook length. Now you can have that loose with a hook just down here. Bearing in mind it's laying on the current like this. All the maggots that wriggle through the holes are coming out. They're coming back down here, so you want your hook link below that. And this particular model there has got a little lead that's detachable, a little weight, and you can put different weight feeders on there. But Mike's got a more modern one. This one's probably antique. It's probably worth more than my car, this one.
This one is, like Graeme says, a bit more of a modern one. This is it's called a black cap feeder, obviously with a black cap on like that. These actually have a bit of elastic in them as well that help you to seal that lid on. So they're closed feeders. They've got the weights on the back there. So they're built in with the weights on there, and these are brilliant for barbel fishing on the rivers. Come in different sizes. As you cast out, obviously the maggots and stuff, they wriggle out, but they don't come out straight away like they would with an open end feeder or a cage feeder. When you're in the river, if you had open end or cage feeder, it's gone, the bait's gone, fish has had it, you don't have the time. At least with these black cap feeders, you have much more time for the bait to break down and get out of these plastic ones.
And I'd have to say actually, those are much stronger than the old ones I used to use. This is a really old one. They're much stronger, and I think those holes, the diameter here, in these are actually bigger than the holes on here. So the maggots should come out a little bit easier. But we're talking barbel, guys. I've done a lot of barbel fishing, way too much in my junior years, and it was then, I don't know how to put this to you now, especially matchmen. When my dad took me down the Hampshire Avon on the Royalty, I wasn't even driving, obviously, on holiday, family holidays, fishing for barbel, chub, whatever down there. We used to buy a gallon of maggots for £1.50. And if you didn't have a gallon of maggots, you did not catch barbel. You might have got one, but we're talking 10 a day. But those got dispensed into the river, well, with a serious block end. That's the block end that we used to use. Same principle, a cap, a fold of lead across the back, and you could actually get different sizes. That took a big amount of maggots in there, and what we did with these, we used to run, I'll just show you on this one, just briefly, the line went straight through the middle, not off the end of the swivel like the other two, like the black cap of that. It's got a link, it's got the hook link there, then you run your hook link away. This one used to run up and down the line like this. You'd have a swivel here, it would come up against a swivel, then you tie your hook link. Now we used to fish because we put a lot of maggots down, not only with this giant block end feeder, but via those brass bait droppers. We used to really pummel it on the bottom. Barbel went crackers, you'd nearly lose your rod off the rest. But with these, the maggots came out from the down tide end. Down tide? Am I sea fishing? Wake up, Graeme. On the down current end, so you could fish a very, very short hook link there. When the barbel came up to get the maggots, and they would pick these feeders up and shape them to get the maggots out, he grabbed there really close, and as he turned, the weight of that was enough to hook the fish. Same principle, that's got 2 lead weights on the back, they're called ski leads, and you could get different sizes. So if you're on a big river, something like far stretch of the Hampshire Avon, powerful river, Thames, River Severn, River Wye, big weights. Let's just show you how these maggots come out. So guys, we've got our maggots here. We're just going to fill these up and show you the sort of speed they come out at. They come straight out. You put the cap on the end, just like that. Pinch the cap on. Now, here's one of the tips. That will take 4 or 5 seconds before those maggots come out. You might, if you can just see them dropping down there, they would come out faster in the river because the current's going to be pushing them down the bottom end. But you can see in a matter of 15 seconds or so, those maggots, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so there's 8 out there already, which we're getting washed down the current there. So that's the old-fashioned type of feeder. Will still work, but I feel doesn't get them out as fast as a black cap. Let's see what your one can do, Mike.
Right, so I've got the black cap here. There's the little, you can see the red bit, a bit of elastic type string that keeps your cap so you don't keep popping it off and losing it. Dead handy. A handful of maggots here. It's important to pack your feeder quite tight. This doesn't have ground bait with it or anything like that, so you don't have to worry about packing it tight. Whereas if you had an open end or a cage feeder, you don't want to pack that too tight. So we can pack this nice and tight. Pop that lid on. There we go. And let's wait and see. We've got a clear plate there.
You just give them about 15 seconds.
So they're much longer already. They've lasted. We haven't had one out yet. There's a couple coming through.
And then comes the way out. There's one on the floor. Move those out of the way. Don't want to get in on the act. And there's probably twice the volume
twice the
in
amount
that
of
one
maggots,
than there is in this small one I've been using. And of course the benefit, I think you change those leads, can't you, Mike, on the back?
You can do, but a lot of the time they come in different ranges anyway. There's a smaller one here, and they come in different ranges, so the lead comes with it anyway.
Yeah.
So a lot of the time, I think you can change the leads.
Yeah, I think they fold out.
But the leads actually match the size of the feeder, so it's actually quite handy there.
And I'm going to put some while Mike's doing that in my trusty old block-in feeder here.
There's the third maggot and the fourth.
So it's constantly feeding the swim.
It's a trickle feeder almost,
in there.
Yeah.
And you can see there's what we used to call those ski leads, and these ones used to distribute maggots, well, quite a volume. You know, you could let those out, and those two weights would actually sit like that on the bottom there. But I've got another tip, is if you're fishing in the winter, and you can still catch species like barbel in the winter, generally you have your maggots, let's put that out of the way, like this, in there, you have them in the fridge. Now here's a little trick that you might not know about. Well, let's show you. The easiest thing is to show you. Right guys, you're out in the riverbank. These have come straight out of the fridge for this. Don't tell the wife, please. Our Christmas dinner's in there with it. Now here's something you can do to boost up yours. Just take a look at these ones. Just look at the speed these guys are wriggling around at compared with the ones. They're both the same maggots. They were both in here, but these are going completely bananas, and that's because I've put one of these in there. That's right. It's a little hand warming device. Takes solid fuel sticks. Some of you may be familiar with them, using them as hand warmers, but why don't you light the end of them? I'll blow this one. There it is, look. Call the fire brigade later. They heat up almost, well, you can see them glowing red there. Put them in the glass wall, close them up. It's a hand warmer, but hey, how about putting them in with your maggots, shut the lid, leave them while you go fishing, and they're warm.
Now, that's fine on a nice winter's day when it's cold, but in the summer, what happens, your maggots get hot. If you leave them out in the sun, they'll tend to sweat. They'll be nice and active, like this lot in there, wriggling around like crazy in the summer, and you think, brilliant, I've got lots of really good maggots there, nice and lively. But what happens is they get really hot and they sweat, and they actually end up dying. So, as an alternative to that, in the summer, especially, get yourselves one of these, little sandwich back thing, little thermos cool bag. Get yourself a cool box things. You can fill these with water. They usually come with a special fluid. Put them in the fridge night before. Place it in the bag. Grab your maggots in the bag. Zip it up, and then you're ready for your session. They'll last a lot longer.
So barbel fishing it was, using the maggot and swim feeder combo as previously described. Our contact for this trip was Storey Fishing Tackle, possibly one of the best match anglers for River Severn barbel from years ago. Mal has forgotten more about feeder fishing for barbel than most of us will ever know. He also runs the best tackle shop in Halesowen, the only place to go for River Severn barbel tips and the best quality maggots and bait for miles around. We were in the area filming carp on a lake, but would we be able to use Mal's tips to get us a last minute barbel before we left for home? Well, this guy, Mal Storey, is something else. He sent us down here. I'm down here with Mike, just about to go home after doing another film up here with him. I thought, do you know what, we've got 2.5 hours, is it worth going on the river? He said, it's always worth going on the river up here. So we're on the River Severn. We're on these black cap feeders, you know, and maggots. He said maggots, don't go on the pellet. Obviously I'm talking because my rod's bent. We've been here about barely 50 minutes. I thought, you know what, should I cast out where I think Mal would cast out? Third cast, the rod's folded over. It's got to be a barbel digging it. It's not a big fish, I don't think, but it is a River Severn barbel. We've caught so many fish on one of Mal's still waters doing a carp film. We're actually running out of the memory card and we're using Mike's little handheld SLR camera. So I don't know what you'll get here, but what a lovely looking a perfect little barbel there, I guess about 3, might go 3.5 pounds. Feeder and maggots, good old traditional method I used to use 30 years ago, so it's nice to catch it on traditional methods. Brilliant, let's get it back. Now, I've done an awful lot of barbel fishing 40 years ago, and for me they're the ultimate freshwater fish. Hard fighting, sleek lines, and do you know what? It doesn't matter what size they are. They will always put a great bend in your rod. And if you ever get to fish for them visually, watching them actually take the bait, it's electrifying. I assure you, you will never be the same again. And the scenery on the River Severn is superb.
Well guys, I'm here, potentially onto my first barbel ever, on the Severn. The Kidderminster bailiff just come round to get our tickets, and really friendly guy, gave us some tips about where to cast. We've cast out, baited up, filled up the feeder, the black cap feeder with some maggots. Suddenly saw the rod tapping away. We're fishing, 2 of us in one swim here, and I thought it was Dad knocking the rod. Turns out it's not, and I've got a fairly decent fish on, I'd say.
Oh, it's a barbel, 100% that's a barbel.
It's holding upriver, isn't it?
He's holding. He's digging.
The old TikTok reel had a nice scream out.
Now you can see that digging on that.
Yeah. Look at
He's ripping the rod top. Where you go, make sure your drag set that you can give line. Yeah. That's it. We're on, what did Mal say, fish? 14s and 16s?
Yes.
Which is weak.
That's for 14, we've got a size 14 hook on. About four maggots. These were on all white. Both barbel today have been on your one was all white, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's all white, yeah.
All 4 white maggots. Cram those maggots into the feeder.
He's digging.
Feeding every, I'd say 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah, Mal said minutes, literally minutes.
Yeah, let it bump down, wind in after 3 or 4 minutes. Little feeder. We actually have the net close for a change.
Yeah, just in case anybody wants to know, this is the totally awesome fishing net within hand-grabbing distance.
And there's a snag here to my left.
Yeah, don't let him get in those bushes.
Ooh, yeah.
Take your time with him. Take your time.
Oh.
He's let him dig away. Just ease him in.
Come on.
He's coming.
Still got some
We're all quiet, by the way, because this is Mike's first barbel.
If I lose this,
and this pings
there
off.
could be some bad language.
I've got a 3-hour drive in the car home with him, and it won't be good. Yeah. He's got it. First barbel. Well done.
Oh,
That's well done.
Get in.
Hey, that was a result. Big perch as well.
Awesome. That is awesome.
That's a nice fish.
Nicely hooked as well. Let's get him unhooked and show you guys. First barbel on the Severn. Look at this. We've unhooked him. Oh, what a fish. We reckon about what, £4?
About £4, I'd say. He is, yeah.
Gave a good scrap. What a fish. Unbelievable. I could get used to this this river fishing, definitely. I like my pike fishing, but this really did go.
It can get hooked on barbel, unfortunately,
They
literally.
are some strong fish, these. Lovely looking fish as well.
They look like proper fish should
That's
be.
a nice looking fish, look at that. We're going to get a quick still of this. It's summertime, so we're going to get it in the water as quick as possible. Maybe get a bit of underwater footage for you guys.
With Mike's first barbel safely landed, it just goes to show you how totally awesome the maggot and swim feeder combo can be for this species. Why don't you give it a try? And once you've had your first barbel on an Avon rod, there's no turning back.